Hey everybody, Zarkazm here. Welcome back to Feed the Beast? No, today is a tutorial video. I haven't done one in a while, and there is something in my Feed the Beast world that really isn't Feed the Beast related, so I figured I would turn it into a tutorial video. So obviously you'll recognize this as my Feed the Beast world, Trogdor here by my side. What we're going to do is we're going to turn the local Thaumcraft Tomb, as I call it, it's a double spawner, we're going to turn that into an experience grinder. And like I said, that's not really Feed the Beastie, it's just going to be a vanilla, gravity-based grinder. And I figured I've got plenty of cobble. I've got 3 bags full of cobble, so I'm going to grab all this here, and we're going to get to work. So let's go upstairs. Let's go out the door, and let's go check out that, that spawner. So here we have the double spawner. As you can see on the bottom, there's a zombie spawner and a skeleton spawner. So I think it'll be pretty interesting to turn this into a nice double spawner. So won't you join me? I'm going to try to do this in like a Yogscast Sjin style let's build. I think it'll be great. So let's go. Now, Thaumcraft tombs, as I call them, are usually surrounded by dirt. So the first thing I want to do, in order to kind of make this look good, is I want to get rid of all the dirt around the tomb, while also kind of preserving the landscape. I've got kind of a shoreline here of a lake and a hill over here directly next to the tomb that I want to try to preserve. I don't want to try to mess with it too much, so try to make the edges look a bit uniform. Once I've got all that cleared, then I can start actually chipping away at the tomb itself. Now night falls, but to make it easier on myself, I do have the server set to peaceful. That way I don't have to worry about any monsters during this build. But we do still have light, so we can see what we're doing. So once I get the ceiling off, I want to get the walls level with the ground. So you see me doing that here. Keep in mind that I'm not doing this in creative mode. I'm mining this out with the Maze Breaker pick. I'm flying around with the advanced nanosuit armor, and I've also got all the cobblestone in my inventory, 3 backpacks worth that we're going to be using to actually build the exterior of the structure. Now that I've got it level with the ground, I want to go in and hollow out everything down to the monster spawner level. Now that also means going down into this little treasure basement here, getting all the mossy out of it because I like to collect the mossy, and getting any ores that I might find as I'm digging, and then replace everything with cobblestone and fill it up to the floor. Once that's done, I want to go around the walls of the structure, replace anything that isn't cobblestone with cobblestone to keep it uniform, save that mossy. Again, dig any ores that I might find, which I have been finding, some coal and some copper and tin, your standard surface ores. And then once we do that, we can level off the floor, and then we can begin making individual rooms for where the spawners are going to be, because we can't keep them in the corners like that. You are going to need some space to work with, and some space for the monsters to spawn. Now the space that you're going to want around the monster spawner is going to be about 5 by 5. So you're going to make a 5 by 5 room with the monster spawner in the center. Now I'm not going to do it right now, but later on you'll see me dig into the floor, because you're going to want the floor also 2 levels below. So you're basically going to want a 5 by 5 by 5 cubicle room. Also replacing anything that isn't cobblestone with cobblestone. So we're digging into smooth stone, we're digging into dirt, getting all the mossy that we find that's still stuck on the walls, and then replacing it all with cobblestone to make it look uniform. Once we've got the skeleton spawner done, repeating the process on the other side with the zombie spawner. Also keeping in mind that hill directly next to us. So trying to avoid that as much as possible, and trying to still make it look good. Now we've got a hollow section there in the back, which we'll use as kind of a base of operations for this little structure, if you will. So that we'll keep that hollow and preserve that. Now with the rooms ironed out and everything replaced with cobblestone, we're going to want to go in and make the shaft for which will become the water elevator for the mobs. And that'll be just a single shaft, but digging into the dirt and replacing everything with cobblestone to keep it all uniform. And for now, we'll put that level with the ground floor. And then we will add in a little bit of a staircase here in the center so we can get down into our room. In order to kind of do the spacing, as you can see, I kind of skipped a step, one after the other, so every other step. Now with everything hollowed out and everything kind of cobbleized, if you will, we can begin to build the water elevator shafts upward. Now the problem with this, since this is a surface spawner essentially, one thing you're going to end up having in the end is this ugly kind of U-shaped structure. So I'm going to try to decorate as I go to make these kind of pillar effects. So you'll see me adding stairs around the bases of what's going to be these shafts, and also kind of decorating the outside a little bit with a little bit of cobble. Capping off the spawner room with a ceiling, so that way we've got room to kind of add those decorations. See me building up here. Now, the distance that you build up and the distance that you want the monsters to fall is ultimately going to depend on what difficulty you have your server set to, as monsters have different health. So you'll need to do some research and just kind of check what the optimal height is for your game. Okay, I've come back to the house to charge up my nano boots because they are not looking too good. So we'll charge those up, and I need to get some buckets. There we go, some buckets. Need to do some inventory management here. For the next phase, let's get some of this dirt put up. I don't need all that dirt. Okay, for the next phase, we are going to need buckets of water and signs. So, let's get rid of these. I don't need these. Bit of lag there. Oh, once again, I'm used to 162, where I can just slide it around. Okay, that's 15 signs. Now we need more. Pretty sure we're going to need more. There we go. Okay. Plenty. Get some water. Get the boots on. And back to the build. Okay, so this part of the build is a bit finicky, if you will. Look at that corner. Can't. I don't like it, the corner. Trying to make it all look nice and even. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is drop down my unlimited water source, because I am going to need it. And get the signs out. Okay, so now we're going to make a water elevator. Sign, 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 water, water. Oops. Now this is the just the tedious part. Putting in the water and the signs and the water and the signs. And we're going to have to do this for both sides.
Oy. So, might be able to do some kind of a top view.
Ah, yes, tedious work. Water bucket after sign after sign. And you want to do this for both sides. I mean, you have to do this for both sides. And again, the height is going to depend on what distance you ultimately need your monsters to rise and fall. Once you get to that pinnacle height, though, you're going to start to branch out what's going to be a water flow section outward to where they're going to drop. Now, every water block needs to be a source within the elevator shaft in order for the monsters to climb up, because that's part of their AI. They will naturally swim up a water source. Once you get to the top here, this kind of canal will be a flow, a water flow, so that way it'll push the mob along the shaft to where they're going to fall to their doom, or fall to their cage at least. Now, I did do this a bit incorrectly. The way I built this was based off of something a bit outdated that really no longer works, and you'll see it here once we switch to the to a more overhead view, and you'll also see it in the test. But you're going to want your water flow to actually go all the way to the end to push the monster off into the shaft. You'll see here a torch on a block on the end with no water on it. Previously, before an AI change, I think it was 1.2, this was designed in such a way that you wanted your monsters to push the others downward. Well, that's no longer the case, which I forgot at this stage, so I did go back and fix that later. So now we're in the other spawner, getting the water elevator put in, and I haven't lowered the floor yet, but I'll be doing that here shortly. As I said, you're going to want the internal room to be 5 by 5 by 5, so a 5 by 5 by 5 cube. And above the mob spawner, you're actually going to want to put a couple of blocks to the ceiling. This will prevent monsters from spawning on top of the spawner and not getting caught in your water trap. Once you get the floor down to the appropriate height, and everything replaced with cobblestone just to make it all smooth, and of course adjusting the water elevator accordingly, you're going to want 2 source blocks in the opposing corners, pushing the monsters into the elevator. As the flows meet, it will create kind of a center canal that the monsters will flow into. The opening to where your water elevator is, you're going to want 3 high. Monsters are only 2 high, but they tend to jump in water, so you're going to want to have that extra block, so that way they can make that clearance into the water elevator and swim upward. And knock out a torch, and do a little bit of a test here, just to make sure the flow is all good. Now you saw I got hurt there. I'm not doing this in creative mode. So now once you get to a certain distance away, which you have to build out, I don't remember the number of blocks now, which it changes all the time. But you have to get so far out, so that way when your mobs collect in a little bit of a station here, that they're far enough away from the mob spawner that it will continue to spawn mobs. Ideally, what will happen here is we'll stand in the middle room and just wait for the mobs to spawn, go overhead, and drop back down. So what we're doing here now is going to be creating kind of a receiving area for our mobs, because they're not going to die when they hit. We're going to want them to be a little bit alive, but just on a little bit of health. Putting in some glass just so we can see, and also since there's going to be 2 shafts here, we're going to kind of create another staircase just to get up to these areas. Also keeping in mind that skeletons can shoot you at certain angles, so if you're making a stair setup like I'm doing, you have to kind of pay attention for that and test as you go, which we'll test in a moment. Now it's about this time I ran out of cobblestone stairs. Rather than go back to the volcano lair, I decide, oh yeah, I can craft some real quick, right? Well, no, I did not have any wood on me, but I did have a tree sapling. I did have, it's what happens when you're lazy. Yep, here it comes. Tree sapling. Dig some wood real quick, blocking the cameraman. making a crafting table and continuing on with the staircase, and then realizing, oh crap, that's blocking the cameraman. Let's clean that up a bit.
Okay, so we're going to test what we've got so far, just to make sure we're on the right track. So I am actually going to switch to creative mode this time. Fly up here. Well, no, not fly up here. Okay. Oops. Ah. The time I want? No. That's close enough. Okay. So, difficulty, we're going to set it to normal. And bust the torch off. So we're spawning zombies. Let's go check them out up here. Well, actually, I got to stand close to it for a little bit. Spawn. Zombie. Just need one of those. And spawn skeleton. Alright, so we'll, like, spawn a couple of these in. Because, you know, dang. Let's go. Alright, let's go check them out. See, this guy's already floating along. Now, he'll stop at the end, like he should. And then the next guy will push him. Oh. Get back in there. There we go. Come on. It's a nice little line of zombies. Hey. Get back in there. There we go. Now they're pushing through. Come on. Probably should have built the walls a little higher before I did this demonstration. Oh god! Alright. So we cheated a little bit, but we got tons of cobble, so who cares? Alright, so let's go down here, make sure. Yep, they're landing nicely in here. Let's clear them. And switch back to 2. And now I'm gonna spawn some skeletons, just because I want to double check that they can't shoot me from the stairs. So just get a couple of these going. Nice little line. Yep, don't mind that guy. There we go, very nice. Now, here's the big question. Can they shoot me when I come up the stairs? No, they can't. Awesome. So, now, if I get too close to them like this, they'll shoot at me. And now they'll shoot each other for a minute. That's okay. Awesome. So, let's go back to peaceful. Let's go ahead and get the time back to morning.
Now, as a tutorial, that pretty much wraps us up. Check out the finished product in Feed the Beast. So, I've been Zarkazm, and I will see you guys next time.